Well, YouTube, I had a shower thought. Some of you might know that some of your best ideas come to you in the shower, and this is no different. Not only have I never done Canister Damascus before, but I came up with a couple of really cool ideas that will be fun to try, so we're going to do it. Let's go.
All right, so on the right, we've got some 1084 powder. On the left, we've got some 1080 with 2% nickel, basically 15N20 like you'd see in a regular stack of Damascus. I went ahead and I spared you guys the making of the canisters. It's some channel steel that I cut and I welded some ends on it. It's pretty boring. And then I spray painted the inside with white spray paint. Thank you, Steve Schwarzer, for that tip. On the right, I wanted to do just straight layers of the two different types of steel. So similar like you'd see in a regular stack of Damascus, 1084, 15, and 20, but with the powdered steel, there's no barrier in between, so they kind of have an opportunity to flow together. Would you get kind of like fuzzy lines? I wasn't really sure. So I kind of wanted to see what sort of distortion you could get. The other thought I had was then you could then cut and restack it after the fact, just like you would a normal billet, or you could twist it, and there might be some really interesting, different things you could do. On the left here, I kind of wanted to see if I could create something that kind of looked like rock strata. So the whole bottom is 1084, and then we're doing a big ball bearing, some regular other ball bearings in the middle, and then cover that up with 15 and 20, so you got the different layers, and then like maybe some fossils or some other crap in between. I don't know. Just a random thought I had. Also, as I said, this is my first time doing Canister Damascus. Mistakes were made along the way, one of which just happened. And if you've made Canister Damascus before, you probably picked up on it. If not, you'll have to wait and discover it when I discovered it. We'll be like going on a journey together. Won't that be great? All right, so anyway, packing these things up, you really have to tap them a lot to make sure that you fill up all that inside because they have to fill up all the negative space with that powder. And then we're going to slap some tops on there and weld these suckers shut. Generally, you want to either leave a gap in the weld or drill a very small hole in there to let some of the pressure escape once these things get super duper hot and you start pressing them. Luckily, I'm such a terrible welder that I just naturally leave gaps in my welds, so that wasn't an issue at all. Here's the finished cans. As you can see, there's some notches there. I didn't really realize that doesn't really do anything for this one, but on a normal stack of Damascus, that would tell me where the top is. So if there was certain forge welding I was doing where I had to keep track of like where a certain part of the pattern was, that's really good. For a can that you're just going to rip off, it doesn't make any difference. Here is my Apollo Forge by Housemade. I love this forge. Not only is it super easy to use and it gets hot really fast, as you can see, I was able to control it with the PID. It also has double doors, so when I'm doing multiple stacks, this is beautiful. Heating up the dies. So on a press, these dies just suck so much heat out of the billet when you're using it. So especially on a cold day like this was, you want to heat those things up before doing this. First press, as you can see, the sides are just mushrooming out. I was really surprised at how little resistance there was because that stuff is just still powder there. On the first press especially, you don't really feel any resistance. It just wants to kind of just crush straight through there. So that was a bit of a shock for me. And I think right around the second heat, it started to feel solid. So definitely a lot of movement going on there. It's fun to learn. But my thought process is that what I've seen other people do is I've seen them use squaring dies, so it presses kind of evenly on each side. So I went ahead and I tried that just to make sure that all of that powder was getting compressed completely. I was really worried that it was, going to fail. But what I didn't think about was those little pooches that are coming out on each side of the die there, and then getting pressed back into the billet on the top. Kind of as I was doing it, I realized this is going to be a mistake, and sure enough, it was. That being said, this is my Cole Ironworks 12-ton press. I've gotten a couple questions about it. This is just a benchtop press, and 12 tons isn't like a ton for a press, but this thing absolutely gets the job done. I love Cole Ironworks as a company, and so I wanted to make sure I shouted them out. Hey, did you guys know that saltwater crocodiles can stay underwater for 8 hours when they're inactive? They hold their breath, slow their heart rate to 2 to 3 beats per minute, and close valves in their nose and throat in order to stay alive. I think that's pretty cool. My son Ben told me about that, so I figured I'd share it with you. All right, so this is kind of the part where, you know how like a lot of people on social media will only show like the best parts on social media? Well, this is how you guys know that I'm an extremely honest person, because I'm going to show you what's about to happen here. And this is me trying to get this can off, okay? Here's the thing, though. This is the easy can, all right? So you saw me go back into the flat dies on the press to try and pooch that the side of the can off, and then one side came off nice and easily. No problem. But for this next bit, I really wish that YouTube would allow me to play like the Benny Hill theme or something like that, because I feel like this is just an absolute circus watching me try and get this stupid other side of the can off. You can just go ahead and play it in your minds, you know. There you can see where that seam that got pressed back into the billet was. Finally, I got smart, and I threw it back in the vise, grabbed a pry bar, and just peeled the stupid thing off of there. So, honestly, not too terrible, right? Okay, well, the next one was just, like, way worse. Like, way worse. Like, I started recording it, and then finally I just decided that there was no way, because I was getting a little on the frustrated side. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. That's great. So anyways, yeah, a little frustrated with the other one. But like, you know, I showed you the first one, and I feel like that's good enough. You don't need to see me struggle with the second one. But I mean, here's the result. There's that one. And then there's that. All right, so because those notches in the sides of my holding sticks did absolutely nothing, that means that I have to grind two sides in order to figure out where the top is in the side of the pattern. Not that big of a deal, and I was going to do a test etch to kind of see how they looked anyways. So I'll spare you the boring part of that. Here is our Rock Strata one, which honestly came out cooler than I expected. I wasn't really sure about the idea, but I think it's kind of cool. I don't really know exactly what I would do with it. Would I forge it into a knife? Maybe. This one, however, really surprised me, because that is, in my opinion, very freaking cool. So that's probably the top, and then that's the side where the layers just kind of mixed together and did their own thing. I went ahead and sanded it up to about like, I think 220 or 400, just to try and see if I could get a better test etch to show you guys at the end of the video. Unfortunately, it just did not want to etch well, so there's that one. And then here's where that mistake I talked about happened. You can see there are these little gaps. And what happened is I did not clean the ball bearings off with acetone before I put them in the can. So they probably had some assembly lube or something from the packaging in there. And that obviously is going to keep it from forge welding to the powdered steel. So lesson learned. Oh, and this is just a piece of other mosaic. Again, it's hard to see the test etch. I forged this a long time ago, and I'm not really sure what I should do with it. So I kind of wanted to see if you guys had any ideas.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. As you saw, this one, fun as an experiment, but unfortunately garbage, just because of some of those weird voids and stuff like that. I could try forging it out and see if it's salvageable. Do some upsetting, forge it this way, see if some of those voids are superficial, and then I could forge them out. I'll probably just forge another canister if I wanted to go this route. If somebody wanted to order a knife like that, I'd try it again. But the one I'm really excited is just the plain powdered steel. So I'll probably forge a knife out of this one, and this is where you come in. Drop me a comment on what you think I should forge this into. I could do a chef knife, I could do a hunter. I was thinking maybe an integral style hunter with like an antler handle. I got some cool pieces of stag that might make a great handle for a knife like this. And then that other piece of mosaic that I showed you, which is really hard to see the pattern. Sorry about that. It's just test etches, man, they're brutal sometimes to get a good test etch so you can actually see what it looks like. Let me know what you think I should forge these into, and I can make videos of that whole process now that we've got some good steel to forge into a knife. So thank you guys again for watching. I appreciate it. Drop me those comments. Let me know what you want to see. Catch you on the next one.